And let me see, check my schedule here, and I am handing this off to Jeff Gage from University of Florida Natural History Museum. Jeff?
All right, well, thanks a lot. Everybody hear me okay? Hopefully, yep, all right, sounds good. Welcome to the Thursday morning session here. As Glenn said, it all kind of blurs together a little bit at this point in any symposium. And I wanted to start out with the definition of family because it fits this group and Robert's perfectly. A family consists of the people who support and love you, people who you can confide in and trust. So John Scott today with us. He's from Roberts Camera, a family owned and operated since 1957. Meredith and Corey Rinker are third generation owners. Meredith, the eldest daughter of Bruce Pullman, son to the original owner, Robert Pullman. So like I said, family there for that. John has been part of the Roberts family since 2004 and a member of the pro sales staff since 2014, which is about the same time they started as a corporate partner with our photo family, the UPAA. Also created in 2014 as part of Roberts family was Used Photo Pro, which has one of the largest inventories of used gear in the country and currently accounts for nearly half of the revenue on their retail side of the business. The current model of the pro sales team was created in January 2014 under the leadership of now retired Jody Grober, whose work ethic was be honest and work hard. This is the core belief of how they treat their customers, who are specifically educational, government, and corporate clients. The current sales staff is headed by John with Nick Henry, Josh Saltzman, and Ed Sipes. John describes his team as the best he could ask for. They're happy to work hard to help you get what you need with a competitive and educational pricing. In today's demo and talk, they're going to be assisted by a UPAA member, Mark Liebrick from Indy. John is also a photographer like us who likes to do portraits and landscapes. John describes portraits as engaging and a stimulating process, while landscapes are relaxing and a mind-wandering creative process. In reality, as a father of two, he now mostly takes pictures of his family to create a time capsule project, if you will, since life moves so quickly. Well, there's a little history of the Roberts family and how it ties to our family. Finally, John wanted to thank all of us in UPAA for continuing to lean on Roberts and the pro sales staff for their knowledge and support, especially over the past crazy 18 months, as he and the Roberts Camera family were happy to stay healthy and busy. So please join me in welcoming fellow family member, John Scott.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Everybody hear me? Okay.
Yep.
Hello. Good morning. We're super excited today to be here to present a fun little video and photo studio that we've been able to put together. As the world constantly transitions more into video work, that we're hybrid image makers these days. So that's kind of the general idea of what we're going to do today. But first, thanks are in order. University photographers, you've always been a wonderful partner and just such a privilege to work with. And I mean, obviously, Jody really was the mainstay here and headed our team. And boy, we miss him every single day. But life does move forward, and we're really thrilled that he was able to embark on his next phase of life. And he's having a ball. So I just wanted to say thanks to you all for giving us some of your time this morning. And we're going to do a couple different things for you during the presentation. But the very first thing I'd like to do is introduce you, put faces to names. In our business, we don't get to meet a lot of people face to face. The symposium once a year is great for those who can attend. But a lot of what we do is on the phone and emails. So I'd like to bring over Nick Henry. We're going to do this kind of one at a time because it's a small frame. But Nick, you want to come on over here? A lot of you have had the pleasure to speak with Nick Henry. Nick's been with the department with Jody for actually longer than I have. I started with Robertson in 2004. and Nick was in what, 08?
2008.
2008. So, you know, we've been here a long time, but I want you to put a face to this lovely man. I'm privileged to work with Nick daily, and he's just absolutely fantastic. So, Mr. Nick Henry.
Hello, everybody. Thanks so much for working with us. I think, Bill Bitzinger and Glenn Carpenter and Mark Caravu and Matt Yeoman are probably the oldest names that I can remember from when I started working with all y'all. And it means a lot to still see you around and to have that kind of continuity. And apparently, I should shout out a thanks to Sam Kraft for his statements the other evening about me. Brother, I appreciate it very much. I got your recommendation with Nadia. I'll reach out to her today. Thanks.
Josh is behind the scenes here operating. We'll get him on a camera a little bit later, but he's managing switching cameras and the chats and everything. So, and Ed Sipes, who's our office manager, he's literally doing every other bit of work that we have today while we're here with you all. So I just wanted to introduce you to the team real quick and just say that we do appreciate you and thanks very much for your time. We're going to get started by showing a pre-produced video in an effort to save time through the magic of television. We did a pre-recorded video and Mark, actually, Mark, you want to come over here real quick? Just so a lot of you probably know Mark already. Mark's a freelancer here in town and a UPAA member, and he's always exceptional in lending a hand. He's a very giving guy.
I'm very easily excited.
And Mark helped us shoot and produce the video, and he's here today to help run the cameras. So, Josh, are you ready to share screen? And we'll play that video for you all now. Hello from Robert's Camera. I'm John. We brought back an old friend, this chum, Jody Grober. He's agreed to sit for us today for our symposium presentation. We're glad to have him here. It's been a crazy 6 weeks without him, and he's enjoying retirement. But we wanted to bring him back and just do one more shout out for Mr. Grober. So. We're all fully dosed. Hey, woo,
two doses.
2 doses. So we're going to go without masks today. We're in a good environment here, and everything's secured, and people are distanced. And just so everyone knows, we're on the up and up. So behind the camera, we have Mr. Mark Liebrick, UPAA member himself, photographic extraordinaire. Jody will be sitting for the portraits. I will be production assistant, second assistant. / first and third assistant to best boy. Josh Saltzman, who's new to our department here, is going to be running audio for us today. And Nick Henry is, for some reason, standing in the back of the room. But you'll see him a little later in the video. So without further ado, we're gonna start this thing. This is all this gear in the room we have from Mac Group. So we've got Kupo stands, we've got Nanlite lights, we've got Ceramonic audio, we've got Benro tripods. It's a nice partnership. They've agreed to work with us for Symposium this year as sponsorship. Sigma sent us some really great new E-mount lenses in the I series. These are brand new lenses and they're awesome. And we're shooting today on Sony cameras.
Bingo.
Here we go.
Trust it. All right, good deal. So you're retired. How do you feel?
Feel good.
Feels good?
Yeah, I feel good.
What?
There are days that's empty. There
Okay.
are days it's empty, but overall it's good.
Overall, it's good. Is there anything you miss from working?
I miss all of you guys. I can't help but talk to you, Mark, and not instead of the camera. That's peculiar. There you go.
There we go.
I miss these guys. I mean, Nick and John and Ed, you, Mark, and Phil's over there now. And I don't miss you, Josh, 'cause I didn't know you that well. Okay, I miss you too. But it's okay. It's all right. Some days you're sort of lost. You know, it's only been 6 weeks, but other days it's great. It's great.
How do you feel about that truck backing up as soon as you started talking?
That's great. You know,
I wonder if that'll
I miss all the great customers as well, the camaraderie, and that's one of the neat things about this group, UPAA. I'm pretty sure my first one, and Glenn, see if you can remember this. My first one, I think, was Brigham Young, and I think it was, I know it was before 2016. 2016. I think it might have been 2015, but I don't know. But for some reason, I ended up deciding to go to Brigham Young for UPAA Symposium, and the raw lack of bullshit, not the lack of fun, but the lack of bullshit for no reason. Everything was about a reason. It was about we were working. And there's huge camaraderie, and they all wanted to learn how to learn better and work better, and it was just that genuineness. And I miss that. I miss everyone, all of you. It's just, Glenn, let John know, since you can't reach me because I disappeared, what that first year was, and if you remember how I decided to go to it. I'm too old and adult to remember.
Do you have one other?
Wait, I also remember, you can cut this out if you want, I remember us not being able to get any soda with caffeine in it or booze on that first symposium I went to. So everyone went out and they secretly bought, what's the name of that beer? When you have multiple wives? Polygamy. We all went out and bought Polygamy Porter off campus.
Pale ale.
And snuck it back in to the office and drank it. Now, you might not want to post this because it's probably a bad thing.
I think you're just misremembering.
No, it was Polygamy Porter. Oh, I see. Yes, I'm misremembering, of course.
So aside from your first symposium, do you have a favorite memory working with the UPAA or just being with the UPAA?
No. Yes,
No.
maybe I do. It might have been the time that we were busted by a cop when Jillian, we were out shooting in the Palouse. So this was probably at Brigham Young. In Idaho. Thank you, John. And we got busted because she was laying in a highway taking photographs, and a cop came and stopped us. And she actually got pictures of him pretending to handcuff me. Oh, there's so many. It's such a good group. They're so genuine. I mean, they're just a fucking great group of people, and I miss them.
Think you're going to go to the symposium when it comes back in person now that you're retired?
Oh, absolutely. Hi, Mayor.
Hi, Debbie.
Meredith Palmer. Meredith Ranker. Oh my God, how old am I? Would you be my neighbor? They're videoing me. Anything else?
I think we have one other thing here.
You already know you're a lifetime member because they let the cat out of the bag.
Well, yeah, I mean, I found out by a Facebook post I read. I went, oh my God, I'm a lifetime member. I wasn't sure what it meant.
Well, the board got together and they
Oh,
put
what?
together
Now,
an
what?
official resolution from the board of directors, UPAA, and they wanted to let you know
I'm gonna,
how much you mean to them and everything you've done over the years.
it's my birthday. It's on my birthday. Oh, man. You guys are the best. Thank you. Oh, shit. Stop here. Oh, God. Wait. You guys are the best, man. I always said you were the best. Thank you so much. Oh, God. All right. What now?
Now I think we're going to take a picture of you with that.
Absolutely.
And then I don't know. I think we have a whole other Ninja Warrior course for you to go through in the back.
Ay, Jesus, shit.
No.
That is just fucking awesome.
They don't get the tag off it.
Oh, man, that's great. Oh, shit. Oh, I didn't tell the story about nipple, runner's nipple.
Listen, the audio's still going, so we're good.
Oh,
Yeah, no, we'll get it. Don't worry.
So the great thing about these shirts, the UPA shirts, is wherever they get them made, they're super, super soft. And I have runner's nipple. So if I'm exercising, which I do a lot, I'm about to ride my bicycle from Cincinnati to Cleveland. If I do a long day, a long ride, the shirt will tear the skin off my nipple. It's extremely painful. The UPA shirts prevent that. They're the best. I literally wear this shirt probably 4 times a week. Just this one. Thank you, guys.
That's why it started out white, right?
Yes, it was white years ago. No, it wasn't. All right, good?
Good.
Would you be my neighbor? Would you be my neighbor?
I'm just going to keep recording until you start another nipple story.
I'm done.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, I'm done.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there's your quitter of the century.
That was, I can't wait to see this. You wait to see the video of the setup. It's going to be great.
It took a long time. We had a few audio issues to deal with.
We were getting a radio station on the mics.
Not kidding. We were picking up an actual radio station. Great. Thanks.
We're gonna,
Well done. I told your dad, half jokingly but half seriously, your team is better.
I don't think it's recording.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, turn it back on.
All right. Can we hear me? Yes. All right. So thanks for hanging in there. The idea of that was to obviously show you what can be done with lights that are multi-purpose. You can have a studio set up and rigged so you can bounce back and forth between stills and video very easily. The lighting that we have in here is from a company called Nanlite, and Mac Group is the USA distributor and sales channel for them. So in the sponsorship with Mac Group and the partnership for this, we brought these Nanlights in here. They do have a wonderful educational discount. So it's a really pretty aggressive price point for what you get. And I'd like to talk kind of a little bit about the individual pieces. But before I do that, from a photographer's viewpoint, I used to shoot for a living. I don't really get to do that much these days. So from a professional's viewpoint and the usage of the equipment, I did want to get Mark to kind of pipe up a little bit and give us a little bit of his appreciation and what's going on. Mike, can we get a mic check from you, Mark?
Mic check.
Sounds
Mic
good?
check. John check.
John check. So Mark's back at the camera, and he actually set up the lighting for this. So I'd like him to kind of go through a little bit of why he set things a certain way, so we can appreciate it from a photographic viewpoint. So Mark.
Hey everybody, it's good to see you guys again, even if it is kind of weird just standing and talking at a camera instead of all of you as a group. That said, this is our setup very closely to how we can recreate it as you saw in the video. The Nanlights, first off, normally I tend to shoot with a lot of strobes. However, in the past, I have done plenty of work with LEDs, and I have to say these Nanlights are fantastic. They're incredibly bright. Our camera settings for the shot that you saw of John is 1/320th of a second at f2 at 200 ISO. Now, why did I shoot it at f2 in a studio? And to be honest, originally the settings with Jody were set that way because he doesn't sit still. Okay, so I wanted something that was relatively quick, and I wanted a little bit of separation from the background in terms of depth of field as opposed to just the lighting. Now, are the lights capable of going brighter? Absolutely. Our main light here, the Forza 300B, Josh is hitting buttons on the camera here. Okay, the Forza 300B, which John will get into further detail about specs and all the bits here in a little bit, is only set to 59%. Okay, so the main light here is only at 59%, and our background light, the one right behind John back there, is only set to 39%, and that is a Forza 200.
Yeah.
Okay, that is a Forza 200. So as you can tell, there is a ton of power left in these lights to push it the direction you want to go. Okay, and with our magical space cameras, you go to 400 ISO, you're at f10 before you know it. Okay, there's a lot of light coming out of these. They were really great to use because the color temperature is very consistent between our different units. And then we also used a Nanlite Pavo tube in the background. It's actually 2 tubes, isn't it?
Yep.
Hold on, I'm trying not to trip over cables and collapse the whole presentation. John's gonna grab these Pavo tubes here. I was gonna say, can you just snap one of them out of the holder?
Yep.
Okay, these are also Nanlights. Bicolor, so you can control your color temperature on them. A lot of folks that do light painting would probably love these. I think they're super cool. But these are what we used on the background, and they have a slight color temperature difference to accentuate the orange that we chose. Now, I'm sure plenty of you are probably feeling the same way that Jody Grover did in regards to the orange. It was a bold choice. But it was a better choice than the purple or the neon pink that was also in the choices the day that we did this. And I don't know, we just felt that it worked for one reason or another. If you guys feel like it really didn't work and it was the worst decision ever, please tell Josh in the chat. You can also direct all complaints to Josh. Just, Josh, you did this wrong. Not us, not us. Okay, anyway. For our audio, we used the Ceramonic Blink mics, the Blink Pro, I believe is what they are.
Yep.
These deals here, I don't know if you guys can see that or not. These are super cool because in order to charge and sync them, all you have to do is put them in the nifty case. Okay, so gone are having 100 different cables to plug in each of your mics and do all your bits. You clip them in your case, you close the lid, and the lights on the front light up, and you're good, you're charging. It's kind of like the wireless AirPods or whatnot. You put them in the case and then you just charge up the case later. It's a really great system. We did have an issue at one point where they were picking up a radio station in the local area, but we think that had to do with the fact that they were mounted to a C-stand acting as a giant antenna. We're not really sure, but the problem didn't persist. We were able to get around it without any trouble. Let me set this over here. As we said, in terms of the camera, we used a Sony A7R4 with Sigma's new I series contemporary lenses. The lens I chose was the 65mm because it was the closest they had to a portrait length. I wanted to be able to fill the background with our orange, which we did, as well as, it created that little bit of separation that I was looking for at f2 or f4. I think I kind of went back and forth depending on the video and the stills. Does anybody have any questions about how we set it up or why we set it up the way that we did? While you guys are thinking about questions or typing them in the chat to Josh, I also want to say that our Nanlite softbox has a grid in the front. We did that to help keep our soft light a bit more directional and not spill onto our background, causing a gradient. As well as we have another light, believe it or not, off here to the side to actually light us up. So that way, everybody's happiest when they're lit, right? So we added lights for ourselves. We also have the Ceremonic blimp here, which did a good portion of the audio heavy lifting for Jody. It actually picked up all of us, although Jody was mic'd. And we have a Benro tripod here, nice sturdy legs to go along with it. I made it real easy to keep Jody in line with our little coffee. Well, the coffee is really what kept him in line, I think. But everything was very set up. Everything was ready to go. It was very easy to switch back and forth between stills and video. And like I said originally, if we needed to up the power, we easily could. Okay, at 59% on one and 39% on the other, there was plenty to go up if we wanted it or needed it. And I believe some of the Nan lights in the line are even controllable by an app, so you don't even have to leave your camera. I don't think the 300 here is, but I know a couple of them are. Anything to add here, John?
I think you covered from your perspective. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
The kind of the nomenclature, if you will, Josh and my own.
Try and get out of the way here.
So the nomenclature of the lights is pretty easy if you want to compare to studio strobes. So it's a 200 is a 200 watt, a 300 is a 300 watt as far as obviously power consumption. How those lights produce is they're Cobb LEDs. So they're kind of like a supercell instead of a whole bunch of little tiny diodes. And that creates a greater efficiency. So when you need to go fill, a 3-foot parabolic that's double diffused, you've got gas in the tank to do that. I will show you here. Actually, let me grab this light. Nanlite makes their Cobb LEDs in two formats. They make an FS series and they make a Forza series. The Forzas are both AC and DC. So you can see they have a little kind of power box here for power control. And they have a V-mount for batteries, as well as a AC adapter to convert from the DC. So that AC adapter, of course, comes with it, and that would lock in here and go, mains cable to your power outlet. Or you can grab a large V-mount battery like so. And if you need to go totally portable, then you can go totally portable. So, there we go. And I'll just give you kind of a little bit of an angle here. Obviously, we got some power output. So as you can see, totally portable battery power is easy to go back and forth. So the batteries and chargers, of course, you got to pick up separate. But the ability to go on location very easily. We find regularly that people would prefer to be on battery, even if they have an AC power plug-in option. It's less gaff taping cords. It's less finding an outlet that's 75 feet away. Being able to just go on location with a battery, plug it in, fire it up, and have the same kind of results, whether rather than being plugged into a wall, has been a huge advantage for tons of our clients, because it's kind of less fuss, right? You have everything you need. It's clean. It's easy. You're not carrying 100 feet of extension cord with you, so on and so forth. So very importantly, when you look at modifiers, because of course your light isn't anything until you shape it, this is a Bowens mount. So you'll find this, obviously the original UK lighting company, Bowens S-type. Tons of different brands are using this now as far as a mounting mount point for either speed rings or hard reflectors. And obviously the benefit of that is that there are hundreds and hundreds of modifier choices out there for you. But I will say something that I was really pleased to discover when I was metering a couple of different lights for a client a couple months ago. Nanlite did a really marvelous job of creating efficiency out of their reflectors. So if you can see kind of on the inside here, it's obviously dappled to have a light directed path. And what we found is that similar lights of the same wattage were producing easily a stop to a stop and a half less actual light delivery. And that's simply because the reflectors weren't designed as well. So this little 7-inch dish that comes with the head really makes a big difference as far as delivering light to where you need to put it.
Hey, John, on that note,
Yeah.
Something that I really like, Nanlite has all of these Octabox modifiers. And I mean, if all of you are like me, I really like my Octas. But the one thing I dislike about my Octas is how difficult they are to disassemble and transport and all the rest of it. One thing that Nanlite has done really nicely, and I don't know if you guys can see this or not, is these are quick release levers. And so all you have to do to break it down is take it in a circle. Now, of course, John had plans to use this for something else, and I'm totally ruining that for him. But it's now able to go in the bag, ready to go. And in order to open it back up, all you have to do is pop them back out. So it's a very, very quick and easy way of assembly and disassembly on these Octaboxes, which is something that I love.
Very cool. I mean, you guys know C stands, so we can talk about stands and things like that as well. If we need to, please, of course, mention. But Kupo provided the C stands. They're quickly becoming some of my favorites. They're quick and easy with their turtle base, very aggressive price point, come in black or silver. And then also for people that need to be more on location, oh, it's right here. They also have these stands. So if you don't want to carry a bunch of C stands with you, they have what they call their Click series stands. And this is a collapsible base stands, as you'd normally expect from a regular kind of light stand to take with you. But one of the very cool things with these, as I compress this down, they actually click together with everybody else. So instead of being a normal kind of triangle shape, they fold down kind of into a flat line. And the benefit of that is that they have these little notched sections, so you can stack your stands together. Ultimately, it takes up a lot less space in the bag. As you saw in the video, when we were able to break everything down, that's why we wanted to show you the setup and teardown process. We had a rolling cart with all the lights on it and a box on top and the paper roll that was able to go in and out. That was a rock and roller cart. But we also had a long Tenba case, and basically all the stands went in that case. So when you do need to go on location and you don't want to have 6 different rolling bags or anything, or carrying shoulder slings or anything like that, being able to pack your case wisely has made a big difference as far as being able to go on location for work. I know Mark has a couple of these stands that he likes. This is a 9-foot version. They also make a 12-foot version. And these are pretty robust. I actually do like these quite a lot.
So quick note on these stands, because John's right. I absolutely love these. One of the really nice parts are the larger thumb twist deals here. That's absolutely the technical name for that, by the way. The larger ones, they're really easy to grip, as opposed to you get some that are just very tiny and you're kind of going at it. The other thing worth noting is that these not only stack, but they stack 2 ways. Okay, so they'll stack out and then they stack this way as well. So you can technically have a big old grid of them that you can carry around, or you can, instead of making a 4-stack this deep, you can stack one and just have 2 of them like that. That's really easy. Also, as well, something notable about this stand is that it comes out of its base. Okay, and so yeah, you can actually pull this out and use it as a boom. Now, some of you are probably thinking, why can't I just collapse the legs and do that? You absolutely can, but I can assure you it's a whole lot lighter without the legs. So you could either put a mic on this and use it as a boom, or you could put up a light on it and have your voice activated light stand run around with it. And it's a whole lot lighter without the legs, which is another really nice feature of these Kupo click stands.
And that's on the 9-foot and the 12-foot version. They have a 7-foot and 8-foot version that you can't remove the center column. How we doing?
Getting a lot of questions about the choice of lenses.
Okay. So we're getting questions about lens choices. Sigma quite nicely sent us their new I-series lenses so that we could demonstrate those. So thank you very, very much to Sigma for that. And again, Mark talked about the 65mm lens. We'll bring that in here from a size perspective. Take the lens hood off here. So they come with actually nice metal lens hoods that bayonet mount on. This is the 65, which is the largest. So as a point of comparison here, we'll do this for here's a buck, right? So it's let's say 3 inches long. Okay.
The other really neat part about this is the 65 comes with a magnetic lens hood.
That is neat.
It really confused me enough that I had to go to Google and figure out what this was and why it was and all the rest of it. And it ended up being a really interesting rabbit hole of the Google, as the Googles tends to be.
Okay. So they're not huge lenses. As we get more and more into mirrorless cameras, obviously we're able to downsize, and new optical formulas are allowing for a smaller build, which is great. Carry less weight with you. So the 65 is what we have on the main camera. I'm going to try to put this back in the same position here. And then on the camera that's currently on me is the 24mm for a nice wide angle. They also have, I think it's a 35 and 45. They're all bright aperture lenses. Optical standards are really fantastic on both. In fact, you can probably see, I'm going to just flag off this lens a little bit. I'm getting a little bit of a side light from the light that's keyed on us right now. And even though it's hitting the front lens, I doubt you're picking up too much of a contrast shift there. So the coatings are really good. I've been pretty pleased, and a pretty aggressive price point. Sigma does offer educational discounts as well on their lenses. So if you have questions about certain ones or need to see pricing, you can reach out to us. Josh will put our email address, of course, in the chat, so you can see those and ask us any questions. So I don't want to get too salesy on this kind of stuff. It's more about showing you options. And I guess I'll back up a little bit. One of the reasons that we kind of settled on this presentation, a lot of the chatter in the Facebook group over the last year is, I can't go out, I can't see things, I can't put my hands on things. So we'll do a little bit more of this in the vendor time later tonight between 4 and 6. But if you want to see things like 2 tripods side by side, right? I mean, it's a hard thing to do looking at a computer screen on a product page on a website. So this is a good opportunity for us to be able to show you what things are and how they go together. Again, we want to be helpful. We want to be here to answer questions for you. So drop us a line. You can shoot us emails throughout the rest of the day, and we'll try to put together certain things if you have specific questions. But again, we'll be 4 to 6 p.m. for vendor time tonight. Yes, sir. We have other questions?
We had people ask about the power and light temperature control for the NAND lights. Is it just controlled on the light, or is there a remote option as well?
Yeah, so on the lights, depending upon the light, NAND Light does have an app. I've been told they're in the process of a redesign on that. So it's going to be a little more intuitively operated. It's an older app that they designed actually prior to bringing their lights to the US. But they do have somewhere.
What are you looking for?
In one of these cases, here we go. They do have this, which has multiple channels set up. I think it's 8. You can have 8 pre-configured to be able to control 8 different fixtures at a time. Obviously, you need to set them on channel. But if you can see here, depending upon what the light capability is, it has color temperature control, HSI, which is hue saturation. So that's your bicolor capability. And then FX. So whether the light, and they all have like lightning storm or bad bulb or things like that. And then you have just plus minus for dimmer for control over color. And then if I can read that other one. For setting channels. So it is a nice handy little thing. It's called a WSRC-C1. Is that coming through, Josh? Pretty good. WSRC-C1. If you have to buy this separately, it comes with some of the lights, but if you have to buy it separately, I want to say it's $15. You know, it's a pretty basic little remote here, but be able to have pocket control, that makes it nice and easy. And then on the Forza series, you actually do just have some soft pad buttons and then 2 dimmer switches to control functions of the light. So this is your main for, power up and down. This switches through a rotary dial for menu selection. It's also a push. So this is like a spin it to change your selection and then press to confirm kind of concept. A little screen on top tells you what you're operating. And then it's just a power cable there out to the fixture. The Forza series at 200 watt or 300 watt is more light than the FS series. And in part, that's due to the fact that they have a power control station, so they have different capacitors able to displace heat a little more efficiently. And then these are also fan cooled, but even if we had taken the music out of the video we produced, you really can't hear the fans. They're actually really quiet fans. They did a great job of designing the fans, just super hard. It's really challenging to get a properly spinning fan at a low enough.
We have fans
decibel.
running on these lights in the background right now.
Yeah. So, we're in a big space, we got a little acoustic reverb, I'm sure, but, they did a great job. I got to give them big kudos on that. They're yoke mounted. So you do have just a tensioner on either side. So be able to, manipulate. So if you wanted to hang them in a studio, this way, or you can spin it around. I'm not going to crimp the cable here. But yoke mounted there. And then on the Forza 200 and the 300B and the FS lights, you also have, let me pop this reflector off. You also have an umbrella mount that comes right through here. On the original Forza, we do this right, Forza 300 and Forza 500, which are a little bit older lights, they didn't have that umbrella receptacle, so you had to do something mounted down underneath here on the light stand. But it's really nice. They just put an 8mm shaft receiver here for umbrellas on the side of the newer Forza series and FS series. So that's pretty nice. Josh, any questions?
Yeah. We got questions asking about the Pavo tubes and about if they can change colors.
Aha. So Mark was right about the Pavo tubes. They're bicolor. They're also RGBW. So they are actually full spectrum capable. This is the little Pavo tube, which is called the Pavo tube 2, 6. So numeral 6 and then C for Charlie. Right now we've got a really awesome lime green. And you can see here, just on the back side, it's just kind of a basic control mechanism. So we can go different shooting modes, into effects, into channel control. We can, brighten it up, max it out here. Almost maxed. There we go. So that's actually as bright as it is. So for a little 10-inch tube, it's actually pretty powerful. Pretty nice. Also, it does have, not probably super strong on the side of this C-stand, but it is magnetic there. Maybe not. Oh, that's right. There we go. So we'll just give you a spinny here. Whoop. So you can see, obviously, it's easy just to slap it up on the side of things when you have some metal around you to be able to just put it wherever you want. It is also tapped 1/4 inch on this side and comes with a little hand strap, which is cool. But if we undo the hand strap, then it's 1/4 inch on that side as well. So I'm gonna turn this back down. The size of the 6C diameter wise is a little bit smaller than it is on the 2 foot and 4 foot pavo tubes. But the 2 foot and 4 foot are all standard, like a fluorescent tube size, a T12. So let me grab one of these guys. Actually. There we go. So this is a double clip. They also make it in a 4-clip design. And I'll pop this off. So nice heavy duty holder here, ball mount in the back. Used to see this a lot on old, Kino flows and flow lights. And it's a pretty beefy, kind of sturdy thing. So they did a nice job building that. They make a single tube, a double tube, and a quad tube holder. But the operation on these guys has some rotary dials just right here on the side. And then you've got a similar menu structure here on the back side. So a little screen there that tells you what to do with 6 buttons there for control. And then it's going to be a little bit harder to see, I'm sure. But actually written here on the back side of the tube itself is essentially the instruction for the all the menu operations. So no paper book to keep with you. Everything's actually written right on the tube itself, which is pretty cool. You can also daisy chain these. So they have input-output ports here on the end, and that essentially turns it into a DMX controlled structure. So if you control one and they're all daisy chained, everything will fall in line and do the same operation all the way across for all the different tubes connected. It's pretty cool.
You absolutely should not lightsaber them though. They're expensive.
Yeah. I was told that you can drive over them with a car. I haven't tried that, but our Nanlite rep said that I think they ran over it with like a Ford Explorer or something, and it held up just fine. So testament to the build quality. They did a nice job with those.
John, do you have any spec on the battery life for those different models?
On the Pavo tubes at full power, I want to say it's about a 2-hour runtime. I know that is on the 15C, which is the 2-foot version. These are a little bit bigger. They have a little bit larger battery power. Thanks, Josh. But they also obviously have more diodes on them. So give or take, about 2-hour runtime on the batteries. You can also plug them in AC. So you can use them plugged into the wall if you need to, but it is an internal battery. So, for better or worse, that helps make them a little bit better weather sealing, things like that. But those batteries are, again, about 2-hour runtime. On the Forza series, it depends on the wattage of the light. So if I'm doing this from memory here, on the 300, I want to say it's about a 80 to 90 minute runtime. They do use 26-volt batteries, so they're pretty beefy batteries. And you can get these from a couple of different brands. Nanlite does make their own. Jupio is another brand. So there's a few out there. And as with all batteries, typically the lower cost ones, you buy it on Amazon and it charges once and then you buy a new one kind of concept. So do watch that when you're looking at batteries. I'll say I've been very pleased with the performance from the Nanlite batteries themselves. They do kind of just tend to recharge over and over and over again without any issue. Over here, show you the charger for them. So this is a double charger, comes in a double or a single. Actually pretty cool, carries nice little case, comes with just a standard mains cord and on off switch for the charger, and actually fan cooled, which is nice because obviously this is a fair amount of voltage. It does generate some heat, so it's nice that they fan cooled the charger. V mount, I guess for those who are not completely familiar, this is called a V-mount battery. You can see here just kind of that slotted design. So with these larger broadcast style batteries, they're either a V-mount or a gold mount. Anton Bauer made that very popular. And the V-mount, I think, has kind of become the de facto standard for most brands. It has a battery gauge on the side of these. And if I can get underneath this tab here, they are also DTAP. So if you did have other DTAP power sources, like an Atomos, right, for a field recorder, something like that, or you wanted to power a larger monitor on site, you can go DTAP out from these as well. Okay, so you just need that cable, and then it'll go to a LEMO plug or something like that on the other side. So it depends on what other device you're looking for. You'll need to get that cable separate. Okay.
Michael Houts says that when he's using the Nanlite 300 through a softbox, he has to bump up the ISO to get anything above F11. Maybe you could speak to who you think these lights are designed for.
Sure. F11 is a bit of an ask for a 300 watt unit in general. You know, and obviously depends upon the size of the modifier you're using. So case in point, actually, this would be a good demonstration. Mark, do you want to go live on this camera? Josh, we'll bump back over to this, and let's go F11 or F8, F11 on.
Well, I think it's also worth noting in the question, it was about product photography as well.
Oh, okay, that makes a difference. All right, so F11 is something obviously necessary for depth. We will show the power potential of the light, so you can kind of see where the threshold is as far as total output. But I don't know. I've been working with a large e-commerce retailer that has a gun library collection. So they're a national brand, and they've been getting the FS 300s, and they've been really pleased with it. So they're shooting, F8, F11, and doing, product photography of their gun sales. So I mean, if you're not getting F11 out of it, then, drag your shutter a little bit with product photography. Keep in mind, time is on your side, right? You're, solid mounted on a tripod. You could shoot a 1 second exposure if you absolutely had to. If something's not moving, then you just kind of work the angles on that. But a 300, I mean, you might want to bump to a 500 watt on that. To be fair, a strobe, you can get a lot more power potential out of a strobe. You can go to an 800 watt or 1,000 watt strobe if you need to. And so that's where we're going to have a different conversation about what are really the best lights for that. To me, the benefit of a constant light like this, especially for portrait work, where you are more often than not a little bit shallower on your depth of field, is that, we do a lot with photos with portrait, and we do a lot with video with people. So having that singular light rather than having to have video lights as well as strobes, for a lot of people, I think that jives. That just kind of works out for them.
I think it's also worth noting, as far as the product photography goes, it really is going to depend on the size of what you're doing. So the 300 watt strobe here, or the 300 watt LED Nanlite here, will be great for something that's, I'd say, football sized. If you're looking at something really tiny, you need infinitely more light to get more depth of field and to get more of the bits, because remember, depth of field is created by aperture, focal length, and distance. The closer you get, the less depth of field you have, even at f20. And you need more and more and more light the closer you get. So it's really going to be dependent on what you're shooting and how you're shooting it. If you're putting, if you're putting your 300 through a big modifier like this as well, you're going to lose a bunch of light also, where that's where the high efficiency reflectors come in, and whether you're going to use grid and hard light and then use cards to soften that light instead. So again, there's a big conversation to be had here about how you're using that 300 and whether or not what you're shooting warrants something that's a bit more powerful just for the process.
Mark shoots a lot of product. He's very good at it. Thank you. That's an excellent point. So make sure we all understand, it's as you scale down in the size of the thing you photograph, you have to get closer to the subject. You have to increase your focal length on the lens. All of these things are going to mean that you're going to lose depth of field, which means you have to stop down a lot more, which means you need more light. So it's that eternal tug of war of trying to get enough power to get to the correct exposure for whatever your technical design needs to be. So that's a good question on product specifically. That's a whole nother animal that is a very, very big challenge. Makes me happy to shoot portraits and landscapes. How about that? How are we doing on questions, Josh? Okay. If anybody wants product links or specifications or anything like that, again, prosales@robertscamera.com. Josh will put it in the chat. But just shoot us emails. We can grab technical data and send it back to you. Obviously, designing proposals and quotes for budgets, things like that. Whatever you guys need. Again, I mean, we're happy to be able to be part of this year and for you to lean on us. And it's great. We miss being face to face, but we're glad to be able to do this, at least in part.
Speaking of which, if you guys are hungry or thirsty, there's refreshments and snacks in your refrigerators at home. So please help yourselves.
Can you give a general price estimate of the Forzas and the NAND lights?
I think you can, because you have a computer in front of you.
I sure can.
Yeah.
One second.
No,
I'll
it's all right.
I'll put some links in there. 1 second.
Yeah, Josh will grab some links and get those set up. I don't commit this stuff to my memory anymore because frankly, there's too many things, it is important to note when you guys go and look at these on live product pages on websites, whether it be on Nanlight's website or on our website, you're going to see retail pricing. Retail pricing is not what you guys buy these things at. You get educational price, whether it's a personal purchase or through the university, we can qualify that as an educational discount. So it's, don't look at that, $900 thing and just assume that it's $900. Please reach out so we can get you a proper quote. And that's, it's all buried in spreadsheets and whatnot. So we gotta pull that data when needed. So it's hard to do it all from memory. Yeah, actually, it's a good idea. So, Josh, actually, this is a good time. Are you able to uncouple yourself there for a second?
Or, it's not like we can't turn this around.
Yeah, I wanted to bring, since we didn't get Josh on camera earlier. This is Josh Saltzman, everyone.
Hello, everyone. I'm Josh Saltzman.
There we go. Josh is new to our team here in professional sales, but he's been with the company for, is it just a year or no?
Just about a year.
Yeah, he came to us right in the middle of COVID, moved from Nevada. He's actually from Indiana originally. I've known him for years and years. He's a stand-up guy. Really, really thrilled to have him on the team. One of his particular strengths, among being a fantastic photographer himself, is streaming capability. He really knows his way around it. He does this with a side hustle, I guess you could say. But he's running our streaming service today. We've got 2 different cameras going on. We've got different microphones hooked up. So I feel like this is all pretty relevant. If you guys are interested, we're happy to run you through what our setup is today, and Josh can answer any questions about that too. So that's just a little side thing. Yeah.
But I can't see the computer.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see it. You guys are both in it and fine.
Okay.
There was a question about, I think it's mostly a yes or no. Is there an EDU price on NAND lights?
Yes, 100% yes, absolutely. Everything that you see here, well, let's just go with that. Everything that you see here. Hey, Laura, I told you you'd be on camera today. Laura Lohman, everyone. 20 years. She's part of the 20-year club. Once we show up, we don't leave. So Josh, I'm gonna angle this down just a little bit more. Everything that you saw in the video, in the pre-produced video, everything we showed you today has an educational price point. So if you're going to look at a product page and you see a $500 price tag, it will be less than that. We just need to pull that pricing schedule for you so we can let you know what's what. Just actually, Josh, you're good, right? Your
Yeah.
mic's okay. So take it away, sir.
You could just give me a thumbs up if my audio is good here. Perfect. Okay, so we have 2 cameras running right now, and we're running it through the Blackmagic Design A10 Mini Pro. This is a capture card and video switcher that can take up to 4 different HDMI channels. You could make that could be anything from a computer to cameras to gaming system, whatever it is that you want to have shared on the screen. And then you have buttons here where you're able to switch between all 4 of those, do live transitions. We actually have the Saramonic microphones running into mic 1, and I have this microphone right here running into mic line 2 so that you can have nice clear audio every time. I actually have my camera here because I didn't have the time to find a mic stand, so I'm just using it as a hot shoe mic stand. And then we're running these 4 channels and the 2, or sorry, we're running 2 channels and 2 microphone lines into this ATEM, and then using a Tether Tools USB cable, plugging that into the laptop, and then selecting that as the source for both the camera and the audio within Zoom, so that we can get this really nice, clear looking video and good audio. I think that, you know, even if you're just doing online meetings or presentations or anything, if you have the equipment around, or if it's just a couple of things, being able to upgrade your system so that you are seen and heard more clearly is extremely valuable, especially when a lot of meetings happen now online. To be able to present yourself well, you know, we all are used to the idea of wearing something nice to go to an interview or a meeting, but now that it's online, it's important that that you look and sound good also. Are there any questions about any of the streaming stuff that we have here? You can you could actually forego the USB cable and the laptop, and you can stream directly from the ATEM itself. You can connect it to the internet, and then just have a monitor where you can see the different channels and switch between them live that way. If there are no more questions, I'm going to hand that back to John.
All right, thank you, Josh. So a little bit of, you know, current events relevancy. Obviously, the streaming world is just not going to go away, is really what it comes down to. You know, we're going to be hybrid in everything we do for quite a while.
You
if
mean the
not
internet's
in
not just a
perpetuity.
fad?
The internet is here to stay. We didn't talk about this before. So when Josh was talking about clear audio that made a difference, Mark brought up that we used this as a shotgun mic. It's in a blimp. It has a big dead cat that goes over top of it. I can actually, I think, uncable this here real quick. Right now, we've got it on just a real nice little boom light stand. You could also, of course, put it on a regular mic boom. Here we go. And inside is a Ceramonic Soundbird V1. Josh, you want to switch cameras back? Hey, there we go. So we're going hands-free here. So nice little shotgun mic. It's let's see, this is the super cardioid. They make a regular cardioid mic and a super cardioid, which is just really defines your polar pattern. It's how tight of a pickup and how much off-axis rejection the microphone has. So, you know, think about it like a focal length on a lens. You know, this is a 300 millimeter instead of a 200 millimeter. So it is a phantom power. Some of these, they will also have a built-in battery, and it's just a regular, you know, XLR clip-in. So in the blimp, it's in a nice little shock mount. I'm going to spin this, Mark, so you can kind of see right through the middle of it. And inside, you just got a regular shock mount system for keeping that microphone from bouncing around too much and rattling and picking up, you know, weird sounds. So put that back in there.
What if we like weird sounds?
Unless you like weird sounds. So we're not using this today just for simplicity's sake. You know, a lav mic is really ideal for what we're doing today. When we mic'd Jody for the video, you know, we wanted to make sure that he was picked up on the shotgun mic. It's a little more, I think it's a more robust sound. It's also obviously extremely directional, so you get a little different sound quality out of it. This is actually pretty cool. It comes with a handle grip as part of the blimp. So you can go totally mobile with, if you just have somebody running your audio and that's, you know, hooked up to something like a Zoom H6, you know, field audio recorder and mixer, you can bring multiple channels into that. We did actually use, Josh, was it an H5 or an H6? In the original video, was it an H5 or an H6? Oh, you had headphones on. The Zoom mixer that we used in the original video, was that an H5 or an H6?
That was an H6.
It was an H6. So it has 4 XLR inputs plus a capsule on top. You can add more. But we used that because we had the Saramonic is a dual system. So these are mono mics essentially. And it goes to one receiver. So it is a dual channel, 2 transmitters, 1 receiver combo kit. You can get it as a 1-to-1 or a 2-to-1 if you want a dual pickup. So we're using the 2 today. Mark has a mic on, I have a mic on. And then when we had, obviously Jody and Frame for the video, we were really getting his audio source picked up from this, which just gives a really concise, clear output. It's very specific in what it picks up, whereas a lav is omni. So if I stand close to a wall and I get some reverb off that wall, then this microphone is going to pick up that kind of thing, whereas this can be much more directional. So that's a benefit of going this direction. The other thing that we found kind of interesting over the last year is, when people aren't so willing to be approached and touched and have other people be so close to them, just simply putting a mic pack on somebody in a lav has become a complicated thing. Not everybody is okay with that. So being able to go on a quality directional microphone that's physically not attached to somebody, we've seen a lot of people going this direction where previously, even as an ideal choice, a collar mic would do great. That we just a different philosophy, a different methodology for.
I think that
for
also
these
brings
times.
up an interesting point. I'm going to set this down so that way your head's cut off again.
I'll sit.
I think that also brings up another interesting point about these Blink microphones, to be honest. Because admittedly, so these Blink mics are technically two microphones. You have the lav that it comes with, but if you wanted to, you could literally just clip this to somebody and you're done. So if they're wearing a jacket, you just clip it on the inside of the pocket and you're good to go. It's picking up everything, even though I don't have the lav attached. It's kind of a quick and dirty. You want to get done, you need to get done quickly. They don't want to stay. They don't want to hang out, whatever it is. Okay, here, hold on, clip it. You're good and you're done. And that's definitely something that's worth noting about these Blink units.
Right.
Aside from if you like to put a mic in someone's face.
There we go. They also have, this is an accessory, which does 2 things for you. Obviously, it becomes a little holder and it has a dome that goes over top. So if you want to do the interview style, pass the mic back and forth, then you have that. It is also you can see some contact points, maybe right there, which line up to the contact points here. And you guessed it, it is a backup battery. So these have internal batteries. This has a battery. You slide it on.
You're like the most out of focus person in the world.
In the whole world?
That's much.
Is that better? Okay, sorry, I'm trying to get close. So this has a power function, little LED comes on, and now I'm actually using battery power from the remote holder, the handheld, versus battery power on the mic pack itself. So pretty cool, a nice little extra. So that's all this audio, again, from Saramonic. They've been a interesting company. Mac Group brought them into the country about 2.5 years ago. And they very quickly taken on some of the bigger names in audio with really, aggressive price. But the build quality and kind of their thought process, I'm gonna hand this back to Mark, has been pretty exceptional. And they're great to work with. They have a technical team that you can call on an 800 number if you need to. Of course, it's having people in your back corner is really important. So that's kind of the nutshell on everything. Are there any other questions?
What are the advantages of using the blimp versus a shock mount and a dead cat?
Well, the advantage of a blimp is really when you're outside. So using it indoors in this environment is not really functional or needed. It's kind of a, hey, this is a thing that's available, so I put it together for you so you can see it. The benefit of this is just filtering. So you're going to try to get rid of other acoustics that are around you. Same thing with the dead cat, especially outside where you have, just wind. Largely, that's going to be the issue. It just helps muffle the external noises and allows just that directional quality to come through for audio pickup. So the benefit of the blimp is that it has the shock mount actually designed into the middle of it. It's on a little bungee system. So you get, nice clear audio without the possibility of that microphone bouncing around, or on a hard mount and I accidentally tap my stand. That kind of thing is going to come through on your mic. So that's why you use them. Inside in a controlled studio environment, you don't need it. Outside or on location when you can't control everything, I think it's a pretty helpful tool. Cool. I will cover one other thing on lights unless there's any other questions, Josh.
Yeah, I just had somebody ask a question about, it was about the ATEM, about using it for audio focused productions like music recording. I wouldn't recommend that or at least not solely for audio recordings like of music. I would recommend getting a soundboard, which we have recommendations for those as well. Getting a soundboard, and then if you wanted to sync it up with the video without having to run through a computer, I would recommend doing basically a live multi-track recording, and then run that line into the ATEM, and then you can sync everything seamlessly from there. But I wouldn't recommend the ATEM standalone for if you're wanting to record audio, because it just has two 3.5 millimeter inputs.
Right. So that means you'd be limited on your audio source. You'd have to adapt down XLR microphones to a 3.5 TRS connection. It gets a little muddy. So having multiple audio inputs as well as different microphone style of plugs, and XLR being a much more robust plug on, those things make a big difference. An actual audio board is going to help you out a lot in your control process and making sure you have correct inputs for all your different styles of microphones. In a pinch, if you already have it, you can bring two audio sources together, but boy, you can do that with a lot of things these days. So yeah, one more thing from Josh.
Yeah, they would like you to be set up to answer questions live, have people be able to ask audibly.
Okay.
We want to figure out how to do that real quick. I imagine maybe coming here.
Yeah, that's going to be simple.
the
We'll just
easiest way.
jump over onto the poor webcam that we have, or we just
Well, we'll just turn
We'll
this
just
around.
turn this around.
Yeah, we'll just use this one.
Watch your left foot. There you go.
Hey, folks, if you want to ask questions, go ahead and raise. Oh, and there's John. Thanks, John.
Hello.
If you wanted to ask questions, go ahead and raise your hand and we'll call on you. John, I'm going to start with a question. Now, I'm a still photographer. I've been a still photographer my whole career. I didn't ever catch on to any of the video stuff. But I'm interested in these continuous lights. Yeah, they look pretty bright right there.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit, or maybe Mark can talk a little bit about, I've used flash my entire career when I want to light something, about maybe the advantages or disadvantages of trying to use these continuous light sources for somebody who's only shooting stills and never shoots video.
Sure. Two main things for me. One, it's a modeling light, right? So it's very easy visually when you're used to looking at ratios of lights and you've been doing this a long time, you can see that change, and you would use a modeling light that's proportionally controlled to your strobe to gauge maybe your fill. You can meter your main and then kind of see how much fill you want just visually. Being a constant light, you have that same level of aptitude, right? You're a seasoned professional, you know what your light's going to deliver. I need a 1x4 strip for this modifier. Like, you know these things innately. So it's very much a what you see is what you get kind of appreciation. To me, that's faster setup teardown. You have obviously the multi-purpose of being able to go video. And as a quick sidebar to that, a modeling light on a studio strobe is a get you by in a pinch kind of video light. It's definitely not the end all be all of video lights. You really do want something that has a lot more power and something that is a whole lot more controllable. So, that's a quick sidebar. The other thing to keep in mind with what you see is what you get with today's mirrorless cameras, obviously versus our eyes, we see much more dynamic range. Cameras do not, but with today's mirrorless cameras, you get a really good appreciation of what that final image is going to look like in terms of exposure and color with image preview on your camera. So you really can, I'm going to say it, almost skip the metering. It's fire them up, get a general idea of where they are. You might fuss with a little bit, but it's really from the first shot is a simplified process. The downside, which we discovered a little bit earlier, is that you do have a ceiling. These lights are only going to be so bright. There are brighter ones out there. They just cost more money. And that's as you go up. LED technology has gotten a ton better in a very short number of years. It wasn't but 4 years ago that the only quality LEDs that we had out there were upper echelon brands and like 1x1 panels. That was, other than that, you'd have to go to an ARRI, 300 or 600, and you got a really nice quality light, but it was a tungsten bulb. So it ran hot and it was a long cool down time. So you had to wait before you could break down. LEDs have opened up a lot of that, simplistic possibility, as well as expediting things. You can move faster. You can hop from one thing to the next. If you guys have to go do a meet and greet, take a president's portrait, capture some athletics, maybe, like you're always bouncing around from one thing to the next. So, having to wait a half an hour isn't necessarily a viable option for you. Why you would want to go to a strobe, quite simply, is power potential and freezing motion. So these are bright, but they're not so bright that you're going to be able to get, a 3,000th or a 5,000th of a second flash pulse in terms of a shutter speed. So with a strobe, there's your shot and it's freezing time. With a constant light, you got to use your shutter speed, and the ceiling you're going to hit on power potential if you're doing a lot of motion photography where you want that stop action, that's going to be problematic. For a seated portrait, I'm on the constant light. It doesn't, necessarily need to replace all your strobes when you already own strobes. But for people that are getting started or replacing old lights and they don't necessarily need, fast action, freezing motion kind of concept, I think this is a really viable solution that also helps keep the price point down. So it helps open up your budget.
Sweet, thank you. I see
You're
where
welcome.
Jason has his hand up.
Yeah, I was curious in regards to the microphones with Ceramonic and how they compare to Rode's Wireless Go, the 2 version. Have
Right.
you had a comparison with that, or what's kind of the?
I'd say I think that's easily the most comparable products available. Those two brands line up side by side, and from a clarity of audio, just the fidelity of the sounds, Rode tends to run a little bit warm, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But if you're really specific in your audio engineering and you want to really fine tune that sound, just like with lights, you want to start from a point of neutrality. I think Ceramonic sounds a little bit more like a Sennheiser, where it's more of a neutral sound. Rode tends to be just a touch warmer. Some people prefer that. Again, there's nothing wrong. It's a subjective thing there. Ceramonic's got a better price point. It's again, with the educational discounts they offer, you can get to a better price on the same tool with Ceramonic than you do with the Rodes. I've nothing against Rode. It's a quality brand, a great product line. Obviously it's very well reputed. I've kind of leaned more towards Ceramonic as they keep coming into the US market a little bit stronger with each product release. It's good. It just simply works, Jason. It's really nice.
battery life is comparable between the two, or is
Yeah,
one?
pretty close, pretty close. I don't know the exact, but when I'm looking at the spec tables, they're rated for just about the same. And then the other benefit of the Ceramonics, I love that charging case. It just makes it so easy. I think you can recharge all 3 units in the dual kit. I think it's twice or maybe 3 times with the charge that's in that case. So, you know, when you're just running from one place to the next and you got to use them again at the next session, just drop them back in the case, pack them and go, and you're getting a little bit more power added back on between shoots. That's really nice.
Any other questions? Raise your hand now. Glenn Carpenter, you're on.
Hey, Glenn.
Hey, John, thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah, thinking about, you talked about there is some heat buildup with the lights. I mean, it's gonna happen with any light that you have. Just how hot are we talking? That's one thing, you know, and the other is, I lost my train of thought. Oh, well, that's how it goes. More interested in, oh, I know, wait, how heavy are these lights?
How heavy?
Yeah.
I mean, I can pull actual weights, but
Close, just be close.
Yeah, ballparking, the fixture itself, maybe 4 pounds. You know, the head itself on the Forza series, and then the sled where it's either an AC power or the battery brick. Obviously, with those batteries add some weight. Maybe another 5 pounds, 6 pounds on the sled. On the FS series, that's just a self-contained unit with just a mains cable to the wall. That fixture, because it has the power and control board, everything up in there, maybe add 1.5 pounds. So those might be about 5.5 pounds. As far as the heat goes, with the 200 and the 300s, it would be uncomfortable to put your cheek on the face of the light, but it won't burn you.
I was going to say, I just went and touched the 200, which is still on back there. We're using a 300 to light this glorious scene you see right here. And they're cool to the touch, every part of it. I mean, I didn't go and touch the LED itself.
Right, which would be the hottest part.
Which would be the hottest part, but by far it's not. If any of you have used CF Express cards, those are hot enough to bake cookies on when you pull them out of the reader. It's nothing like that. Okay, these are very cool. I wouldn't have any issue putting the cap on and tossing these in a bag right away. Okay, so they're very, very cool.
Yeah. Would you grab the Forza 60, please?
Looks like Jeff Miller has a question when you've got a second there, John.
Yes, sir. I'm up. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing good. Mine is less of a question and more of a shout out. Your team is still working hard and is packaging up my Nikon 105Z lens as we speak.
Thank you for that.
They've already teased me about that today.
Yeah.
So
For those
Nick
who
is
don't
already
know-
working in the background.
For those who don't know, the new Z MC105 macro lens for the Z mount cameras arrived today, and we got some pre-orders, and we're taking care of NPS priority people today. So there's a few here that have ordered, and we appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. This is the Forza 60, which is the smallest in the Forza line. It comes as a add-on accessory, this battery grip. So I'm going to separate this just for a second so you can see what it does. So you can see here Forza 60B, if you can see that. Again, anything in the Forza line is going to be both AC and DC capable. Nice cheese plate with a fan cool inside. So again, nicely vented. This is a miniaturized Bowens mount, but there is a Bowens adapter that will max this out to a regular Bowens mounting size. They have also kindly made a dedicated mini Bowens mount parabolic that you can get as an accessory.
Forza 60.
Forza 60. So when you're looking at these measurements, the 60 this is all centimeters essentially. So that's like a 2-foot box.
Do these come with grids, or do you have to get grids separate?
Grids are available separate.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, grids that's important for the modifiers. They do have grids for a lot of their their boxes. A half yoke design because it's a nice small light. This thing's maybe, I don't know, 2.5 pounds, 3 pounds. It's pretty nice size wise, and has all the same kind of feature benefits of the big lights as far as effects and obviously B for bicolor. I'm going to put this back on the battery grip. With this particular one, because it is a lower power unit, it just uses Sony L series batteries for, pardon me, if I can pop one of these off real quick. Right, so regular old Sony NPF L series batteries. And all we do is just take it and plug it in, fire it up. Takes a second to kick on. Okay. And so at arm's length here, I'm just going to put it down to about 20%. So the 20% at arm's length, you know, and what's our exposure on this camera, Josh?
153.5 ISO 100.
Okay, so ISO 100, 1/50th of a second at 3.5. Okay, and I'm at 20% power on this at, you know, Mark's holding it now, so arm's length, or, you know, about
It's
3 feet away.
20%, it's still squint worthy.
Yeah. So, pardon me, the main reason I wanted to show you this, other than it's a really handy little portable guy, is that we're going to do a giveaway. So this is actually the light that we're going to give away, not with the battery handle. That would be an add-on for you. But we are going to give away one of these 4s-60Bs. So it would come with the reflector, with AC power, and obviously the fixture itself in a nice tidy little bag. So
Hey, one thing to mention about the bags though,
yeah, actually.
these bags, all the Forzas come in these, they're fantastic. Okay, I mean, a lot of straps. Something I really like, which may seem like nothing to a lot of people, but this drives me nuts, is that they come with labels. Okay,
Because they all look the same.
well, they all look the same, but I've got lots of modifiers at home that have this little business card window that I had to write my own label in. And that's fine. I have handwriting, I know how to read and all the rest of it, but the fact that they come with their own label is pretty fantastic. But the bag itself is really well constructed. It's got the Velcro bits so you can pull out. Plenty of silica gel as well for, you know, if you want to stay dry or
Have a snack.
don't eat that. But I mean, everything fits in there really well. The bag is very robust. I mean, this is not gonna deform on its own at all. And it's just a really nice bag for some, and all the Forzas come this way. You know, the 300 has a very large bag, the 200 has a middle-sized bag, and then this is the smaller one, but it's still pretty great.
And you can see there's straps on the top. So if you just want to carry one light stand and one, you know, so like one of the click stands, whatever, would slide in there pretty nicely. So you have a one light, one stand solution, and all their modifiers also come in zippered cases. So cool. Do we have any other questions? Okay. Is it Amanda? Are you gonna do the prize?
Yeah, Ken's gonna throw that slide up when you guys are done screen sharing, just to show it again.
Okay.
Gotta show it off before we announce the winner, you know.